Hey, what's up guys, Dash here from Hype Malaysia, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Lee Chong Wei movie. The Lee Chong Wei movie, titled Lee Chong Wei, is directed by Teng Bi and stars Tos Chan, Ashley Hua and Rosham Noor. And holy shit, did this movie exceed expectations.
钟伟，当你怀疑自己的时候，不妨想想那一些相信你可以的人。
Judging by the trailers, I was initially very concerned. I was worried that this movie would be a simple, paint-by-numbers movie that detailed Lee Chong Wei's entire career. Whereas when we look at better biopics such as The Social Network or Selma, it usually gives us a peek into a small window of the person's life. Thankfully, Teng Bi knows what he's doing. This Lee Chong Wei movie doesn't detail his entire career, it just gives us a small peek, and it starts off when Lee Chong Wei was a kid and ends in the Malaysian Open finals in 2006. Because of this storytelling decision, the movie feels tight and focused. Teng Bi also does a great job in highlighting just how passionate Malaysians are about badminton. If we watch a lot of Hollywood movies, they usually highlight how enthusiastic and passionate people are about sports like boxing and MMA, to the point where gangsters and mobsters run illegal underground fights where people actually go and place bets. But in Malaysia, it's badminton. A friend of mine from overseas once asked me, why are people in Malaysia so crazy about a leisure sport? But here's the thing, badminton isn't a leisure sport, not in Malaysia anyway. In Malaysia, badminton is more than a sport. In fact, it is war. When two badminton players walk onto the court, it is similar to two fighters walking into a cage or in a ring. Malaysians are that passionate about badminton, and this film does a great job in encapsulating that. It shows us how back in the day especially, people used to run illegal underground badminton tournaments. Can you imagine that? Not fights, not boxing, not MMA, but badminton. Seeing as how this is a Malaysian movie about a Malaysian legend, one of my biggest concerns going into this movie was that it was going to sugarcoat everything and present Lee Chong Wei as this flawless hero, but they didn't. In fact, throughout the movie, they highlighted Lee Chong Wei's weaknesses, especially when it comes to his mental strength. In fact, there's a scene where Miss Boon Sidek grabs Chong Wei and yells at him, telling him that his problem isn't his talents or his stamina, but his mental strength. And throughout the movie, they also show Lee Chong Wei doubting himself and being insecure, wondering if he actually has what it takes to be the best in Malaysia and what more, the best in the world.
Awak bukan tak cukup stamina. You pressure yourself.
I fight for champion. Salah your coach. Coach!
When addressing my concerns about the film, I can't help but think back to 2016's Ola Bola, which wasn't so much a film but a 2-hour-long Cuti Cuti Malaysia ad with some badass footballing sequences. I was worried that this Lee Chong Wei film would follow a similar route, a movie that looks good but is pretty much substanceless. But it doesn't take that route at all. In fact, this movie spends a lot of time exploring Lee Chong Wei's life away from the court. It explores his relationship with his family and his relationship with Miss Boon Sidek, who is pretty much his secondary father figure. And the movie also has romantic elements in it, as we take a dive into Chong Wei's romantic relationship with Wong Mew Chu, which actually got some of the loudest cheers and whistles of the night. And the movie also explores the relationship between him and his two best friends at the badminton academy, one of whom is Indian and the other is Malay. I don't know if he actually had a Malay and Indian best friend back in the academy. I tried to do some digging online but came up with nothing. But regardless whether the facts are twisted or not, within the confines of this story, within the movie itself, it is actually pretty cool to see that, and it makes the film more inclusive and one Malaysia. And of course, you can't have a Lee Chong Wei movie without his arch nemesis, Lin Dan. Now, people talk about David versus Goliath, Ali versus Joe Frazier, Rafael Nadal versus Roger Federer, but we Malaysians, we talk about Lee Chong Wei versus Lin Dan from China, which is my personal favorite sporting rivalry of all time. Which brings me to another concern. I went into this movie worried that they might shape the narrative in a way that forces it down our throat that Lee Chong Wei is a better player, Lee Chong Wei is the best in the world, Lee Chong Wei is better than Lin Dan. But Teng Bi doesn't do that. This is an honest movie, and Teng Bi shows us what a beast of an athlete Lin Dan was even at a very, very young age. Now, talent-wise, Lee Chong Wei may be just as good as Lin Dan, move for move. But Lin Dan has always had that mental edge, and this movie highlights exactly that. The narrative of their rivalry has always been Lee Chong Wei's struggle to overcome his arch-nemesis Lin Dan, a great player and a worthy opponent. And this film captures that beautifully. It shows just how hard Lee Chong Wei has to struggle to beat the confident machine that is Super Dan. The guy who plays Lin Dan has that Lin Dan swagger. You will see all of Lin Dan's signature moves, such as him removing his t-shirt and saluting the crowd. In fact, all the main cast look and feel like their real-life counterparts, especially Tos Chan, who bears an uncanny resemblance to Lee Chong Wei. The same can be said about Wong Mew Chu, who's played by Ashley Hua, and Rosham Noor, who plays Miss Bun Side. Rosham Noor is a standout in particular.
Awak tahu kenapa awak kalah?
Saya tak cukup stamina.
Saya perlukan seorang pemain yang boleh pergi jauh.
这里的人缺乏的不是机会。
Does the movie have any flaws? Yeah, sure it does. There are times where the acting feels a little iffy or amateurish, and at times I also question the director's creative choices. For example, there is a scene where young Lee Chong Wei teams up with his dad in a doubles match, and I get the feeling that the director wants to do something spectacular and make it a rousing moment. But the way the scene is shot and the way it's edited, along with the music choices, it just makes the whole scene feel a little tonally awkward. And there are few scenes like that sprinkled throughout the movie, which is why I'm curious to know how this film will resonate with someone who doesn't give a shit about badminton or Lee Chong Wei. First of all, if you do not give a shit about badminton or Lee Chong Wei, you're crazy. Like, seriously? But jokes aside, I am curious to know if this movie will inspire you and emotionally move you just as it did for me. But if you're someone who grew up in a badminton-loving family, if you're someone who has been following Lee Chong Wei's career religiously, this movie is pretty damn good. Despite its noticeable flaws, it is made with so much heart that by the end of it, I was crying like a baby. It doesn't matter if you're Malay, Chinese, Indian, Navi from Avatar, it doesn't matter. This movie is here to celebrate a spirit, and that spirit is Lee Chong Wei. This is a love letter to Malaysians. Go and watch it, and go and watch it in the cinemas. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. And as always, if you like the video, don't forget to smash that like button, share it with all your friends, and comment down below. Until next time, bye-bye.